right, guys, welcome back to the City Culture Podcast. This is season 2,
episode 3,
and we have a very exciting guest today. Welcome, Sabrina Stallworth.
Oh, I thank you, ladies. I thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Good.
We're glad to have you, Sabrina. Will you just give us a little bit about yourself to start off?
Sure. Okay. My name is Sabrina Stallworth. I was born in Biloxi, Mississippi, but I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I attended college in Savannah. I lived in Hawaii for 4 years on the island of Oahu. And I moved back to Atlanta. And now I'm back here where it all started, in Biloxi.
I love that.
Thank you.
So that's where you got all your culture from.
Yeah. Traveling abroad. I worked for Delta Airlines for 15 years, so I did a lot of traveling there with Delta. I enjoyed that.
I love that. So you've kind of switched gears in your career.
Yes, in fact, I did. What I do now, I'm an artist, entrepreneur. I wear many hats. I do upholstery work.
You wear many hats. You also make many hats.
Yes, I got into making hats. Yeah, thank you. That's true.
So on this podcast, we like to promote creative entrepreneurs, leaders in Ocean Springs, people doing things in Ocean Springs. So what's some of your experience as a creative entrepreneur in Ocean Springs?
Well, thanks to you, connecting with some of the business owners over here, giving me the opportunity to do jobs. I did my first with the Mary C. Cultural Center, the Sofa and Love Seat.
Yes, so the Mississippi Songwriters Alliance donated some money towards reupholstering some of our furniture that was already here, some antique couches, and you reupholstered them for the backstage VIP area. They were kind of wild.
Yeah,
Right?
but you know what? You had the vision, and they came out beautifully, I think.
They did. I mean, crushed purple velvet.
I love it.
You know?
Crushed.
Yes.
Yes. So I had the opportunity to do that for you all, and also the Mosaics, the owners of Mosaics. I did the upholstery work for the Little Red Apple.
Fun.
Yes.
The Red Apple Lounge. Love
And
that.
the other, was it Chard? Did they change the name?
To Evergreen.
Evergreen.
Right.
So Chard is Evergreen now.
Right.
That's
New
right.
owners.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So
Yes.
also Kenny Williams.
Yes, I did the upholstery for them as well.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
So, but
cute.
that's not just all it was. Like, these spaces are true experiences, right? So Raven and I frequent the Red Apple.
We do.
And then we had a photo shoot at Evergreen
Evergreen.
for season 2 for our City Culture
We eat
podcast.
lunch at Mosaics a lot.
Too much.
We
Too
should,
much.
I just want to say Kenny Williams and Susie, we should have a punch card or something.
I was literally going to say some sort of
Next meal,
VIP
10%
situation.
off.
They have amazing food.
It is
So,
very good.
had you met Kenny Williams before the connection with the Mary C?
No, that was my first time meeting him and his wife. Very beautiful people.
So Kenny's got how many businesses in Ocean Springs now? It's like a handful at least.
It's definitely a handful for sure.
And he's working pretty closely with the city on some things, and he's got a voice, and
Right.
and he's very passionate.
Definitely a community leader that we have.
And that's kind of been like growing as like in the last few years.
Yeah.
That connection, and that's important to us, business owners with the city, making choices for sort of our environment that we're creating.
Goes
here.
back to that bigger picture kind of essence. Like, city can't do it alone, community leaders can't do it alone, and it's how we come together and kind of grow and move Ocean Springs forward for sure.
Yeah,
And
collaboration.
I love when both business owners and city begin to support creative entrepreneurs. That's like what feeds my soul,
Yes.
you know? And you've been just amazing. It is not easy to find creative entrepreneurs who are super professional and know what they're doing and can actually hit a deadline. It's just hard. It's hard being an entrepreneur in general, but then creative entrepreneurship is, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into a lot of times. And with reupholstering, you're dealing with things that are already made.
So how'd you get into that?
Yeah.
So, like, what started? Like, reupholstery. Let's start there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my mom has a rental property here in Biloxi, I should say. And her house needed some work. And so me trying to save her some money and help her out, because she's older and on a fixed income, I got into doing the tear out. The upholstery side came about maybe 8 years ago. My grandmother had an old chair, and I looked at it, I was like, okay, it needs to be recovered, and I just recovered it, and I kind of started real postering things.
Where did you learn?
Right. Like
Self-taught.
just
For me, just to look at something and try to figure it out. Now, there have been some YouTube tutorials I look at.
I was like, is there
You
a
know,
YouTube
the
video?
intranet.
yes. That's a good avenue. But basically taking some apart and putting it back together.
So you make shoes and purses
You
and
make
hats.
shoes?
I mean, she really is like a
That's
person of all trades,
yeah.
like truly. And so those processes probably fall in line a little bit once you hit upholstering. I mean, upholstery can make you a lot of money. Shoes and purses are probably a little harder to sell, make that money quicker, huh?
Yeah.
But that process, you found yourself like realizing, oh, this is just a bigger shoe. You know?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Both areas of artistry can be taxing on your hands. So when I'm doing a job, I work on it until I'm to the point where, okay, I need to take a break, Sabrina, and relax my hands and relax my mind, and then I'll get back on it.
That is so important. A lot of people don't know how to create balance for themselves when they're doing work as an entrepreneur.
It's a lot.
If you don't mind me asking, Sabrina, how old are you?
I'm 60. I'll be 61 June 15th.
Oh,
I think that's amazing. I'm a June
great.
baby too.
Oh, okay.
You know why she looks great? Because it's from within. Like, seriously,
thank
how did Sabrina meet you today?
A hug.
Yeah, you went to shake her hand and she gave you a hug. That is who she is to everybody.
Yeah.
Like that, her passion for what she does, and also like the kindness that you bring to the table with any client you're working with. That's a huge part of your selling point.
Thank you.
And okay, so going back to some of the things that you've done after the Mary C's upholstery job, and you hit Evergreen and the Red Apple. Tell us about that experience. Not just, oh, I reupholstered a couch. What is the overall environment that was created, and were there any collaborations with other artists while you were working on that?
While I was working on the upholsteries for the Mary C's.
Because Red Apple is, I mean, they completely gutted that place. Oh, yeah. Evergreen, they didn't completely gut it, but they definitely like enhanced what was there. Mm-hmm. So go ahead.
Well, the carpenters, Tyler, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name, but they were so nice. They were a big help for me when I was working on the Red Apple, moving those large pieces of seats to cover.
It's a big curved couch situation. Was that your idea, or they
No,
came in?
they came up with that idea.
Okay.
They had already had all that cut out. Yeah. And but I'm the one that bought the backs in the Red Apple Lounge, those panels.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Oh, and there's some that are different fabrics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was Susie's idea. You know, she has that great eye for textures and colors. So
they pull from New Orleans so
Yes.
much, which I love that culture is coming into Ocean Springs so much.
It makes a difference.
Yeah.
I like the fact that the Mississippi Gulf Coast is starting to be more diverse,
Yeah, for
culture-wise, which I think is great for promoting this area. You know, and it's important.
So Sabrina, do you live in Ocean Springs now, or do you live in Biloxi?
I live in Biloxi.
You live in Biloxi. So tell us a little bit, like growing up, little Sabrina. What did you want to be when you grow up, and what made you, Delta Airlines, and then moving to Atlanta? Like, tell us a little bit about that journey.
When I was a little girl, I always dreamed of being an astronaut. I wanted to be an astronaut because I'm a sky watcher. Even as a child, I'd always look to the sky and look at the stars and the constellations. But of course, that never did occur.
There's still hope. Still young.
But my ties with Ocean Springs, I'll say this. My great-grandparents, I knew both of them, Virginia and Green Ellis. And they stay in this little house back. I can't remember that street, that little alley street.
What's it next to?
The lumber yard. It's in
OS
between.
Lumber?
Yeah.
Oh, right
The
across
lo-
the street.
Yes.
Okay.
My great grandparents, whom I knew, lived back there. And as a child back then, they had a little house, like a wooden house. This was in the early 60s. And they had, I remember, chickens in a chicken coop. So Ocean Springs was totally different than what it is now.
Right.
You know, and so I remember coming over here during those times as a child playing and having fun, like kids do,
Like
run and
you.
play. And that's basically it.
So what year, what era was that when you were a kid?
The 60s, early 60s.
So Ocean Springs in the 60s. What did Front Beach look like? What did Government Street look like?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you and very candid. As African Americans here in Biloxi on the beach, it was limited
Right.
for where we could go. Now, my mother, she was born in the 40s, and being African American, you couldn't go on Front Beach. There was a certain area they were allowed to go, and that was in Gulfport. As I was coming
Wait,
up,
this is in Ocean Springs too?
yeah,
Yeah.
So it was in Ocean Springs and Biloxi, but then in Gulfport there was a beach
a certain area,
specifically?
and my mother always said it was down there near the veterans, the VA hospital, I guess. It was down there in that
there's a
certain
marker
areas.
there.
For me, growing up in the 60s, we didn't go to the beach that often, that much.
Yeah.
Because at that time, what I remember in Biloxi, there were a lot of oyster houses, factories on the beach. And so we didn't really go to the beach. I'll go to the swimming pool at Keesler,
Yeah.
Air Force Base as a child, but never to the beach.
Do you go to the beach now?
I do.
Yeah.
As a child, I didn't realize or understand or see the beauty of Biloxi
Right.
then because I was a kid. But now I embrace it. It's I think we're in a special place.
Yeah.
Biloxi, the Mississippi Gulf Coast has a beauty of its own. So I'm loving
Do
it.
you like the salt water on your skin, or are you more of like a walk in the beach kind of girl?
Walk on the beach, sit, meditate. Do I get in that water? No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
I do not get in
Only if
anything
you're
that
at
I cannot see. And I figure, that's the swimming pool for the animals. Yeah. Yeah. I live there.
So I guess just not being knowledgeable of this, it kind of shocks me to hear that there was like a rule against Black people being on the beach. So did you have conversations with your mom or your grandma about that and like wonder why, or you just knew it and then it was the rule and you just went on?
Well, we were taught and we knew there were certain areas where we didn't go because of, at that time, it was changing a little bit in the 60s, mid 60s, late 60s, but it's still, that stint was still there. Dr. Mason, who was like, I'll say, our Martin Luther King at that time, and he fought for African Americans to be able to go to the beach. And they did have what they call, I want to say, Blood Sunday. Few people were seriously hurt down there by the police. I can't think of this man's name, but he was murdered. He's a Black guy. He was murdered.
Who was Dr. Mason? Do you know Dr. Mason?
Dr. Mason was a prominent African American doctor in Biloxi.
Like a medical doctor?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And he served the community. His practice is still on Division Street in Biloxi.
And his family runs it, or a new partner? Or
No,
something?
it's sitting there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether or not the city or if they invested in that. I think what they need to do personally is turn it into like an historical area where they can do tours like they do
Right.
near Jackson for the Medgar Everts home.
Oh, yeah. for
Something
sure.
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a marker down on Biloxi Beach about the wade-ins, and, Bloody Sunday and whatnot, for sure.
Also, I remember as a child, Main Street in Biloxi was thriving. He had a life of his own. There were all nightclubs there, restaurants. Oh, so it was, a nice, fun place to
Yeah.
be.
Well, that's awesome. So, okay, so back to your art.
Yeah.
You show in several places. So you've just become a local creative with the Mary C, and you are literally about to stock some of our gift shop with your work.
Yes.
We're very excited about that. We have this huge festival this weekend called Delta Rising, and so I think it would just be very fitting. I think your work would sell during that with that audience coming in. But then you also have a few different places in Biloxi that you sell your work. You want to tell us about that?
Sure. I'm a board member at the George Orr O'Keeffe Museum of Art. Yes,
yeah.
I've been a board member with them for now, I want to say 8 years.
Okay, cool.
You sit on for like 2 years and you come off and you go back on.
Yeah.
So the Orr O'Keeffe, Blue Lotus Creations Herbal Emporium. A good friend of mine owns that venue. It's in Biloxi on the corner of Irish Hill Drive and Porter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice little place. So she has a few of my pieces. And over in New Orleans, a gentleman by the name of Andre, he owns, if you ever get a chance to go to New Orleans, he owns Shooby Doo and Shooby Doo and what else? The other one?
We need a New Orleans trip
Candy
soon.
Shoe.
Remember that?
He has 2 shoe shops there, and he has some amazing shoes. So he has some of my accessories there.
I love going to the glass shops in New Orleans.
Yes.
And just, in the main park area, all the different artists who set up, so inspiring.
Yes.
Probably much like Atlanta. Atlanta is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate driving there, but I love to go there for concerts and workshops, and I have some clients there for my art studio. It's just full of culture and murals and art museums and a great downtown area.
The one person I would say that had a lot to do with Atlanta's growth was Maynard Jackson. He was the mayor back in the 70s. He's the one that had the idea of the Hartsfield International Airport, which brought in a lot of other larger businesses.
Right.
And to see, I was in Atlanta in 74, and to see it just grow into something amazing, it was mind-boggling, just different cultures. I love that. And I see that happening here.
So what, I don't know if you mentioned this already, so what brought you back to the coast? So you were in Hawaii, you were in Atlanta, where, the culture is thriving and, they're very progressive compared to, compared to Mississippi for sure. I mean, the coast is its own little gem. But what brought you back here? Was it family?
Yes.
Yeah.
My grandmother. My grandmother took ill, and so my mother was working at that time for Coca-Cola in Cobb County.
Yeah.
She was in IT, and my grandmother became ill. She took her brought her to Atlanta, and we helped her in her recovery to get well.
Okay.
And my mom told her, she said, when I retire, I'm going to take you home, because my grandmother wanted to come back home.
Yeah.
And so my mother needed help. And I said, you know what? I'll go. I left my job. I was a pro specialist for Lowe's at that time. And we had 2 U-Haul trucks coming back to Mississippi. I knew eventually I was going to come back to Mississippi, but I didn't think I was going to come back to Mississippi that soon. And so now I'm here. And when I got here, I'm used to being in Atlanta, just the culture, going to the High Museum of Art, galleries. They would have Wind Down Wednesdays at Centennial Park. And Wind Down Wednesdays in Centennial Park, everybody would get together, go down there with their chairs and their coolers and jazz music.
I love that.
And just have a wonderful time. It was just fun. So when I got here, I'm like, what do they do here? And, go to the casino and go to work? No, that's not my lifestyle.
Right.
So I had to find my tribe. And finding my tribe was connecting with the art community. And the very first one I connected with was, I want to say, Mississippi Gulf Coast Art Association.
Okay.
And then Ocean Springs Art Association. I became a member. And then I connected with Bay St. Louis Art Association. So I was comfortable being around other creators.
Right.
Who in your tribe is someone that you really connect with, who inspires you? It could be a couple of people.
The very first person I met before I moved back to Mississippi was Ellen Lee Ellis.
I knew you were going to say that.
At that
And I
time,
was going to ask, wasn't your grandmother
she's an Ellis. We're
so
Ellis.
Are they related?
I told her we're family.
You
Because
family
she's an Ellis.
somehow.
I'm a descendant of Ellis.
Right.
I connected with her. She had her and another lady a boutique in Biloxi, and they sold pottery. And I went in there one day and got to talking with her, and she was just a cool lady. So when I finally moved back here, I was looking for her and I found her here at the Ocean Springs Art Association, and we reconnected.
She makes costumes for theaters, and she also does ceramics. And then you'll find the fabrics on the little ceramic people. I've got one of her
Her
pieces in
yes.
the house. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a cool lady.
Yeah, you guys kind of have the same vibe. Yeah, for sure. For
She's
sure.
real sweet.
What I love right now is this moment, like, I can feel Raven's energy. She just met you, and, like, her brain is popping off with inspiration. Like, just some of the things that you're saying, she's like, oh, we could do that. We could, oh, that's a good idea, And I that's the kind of connection that, like, means something, And that has to do with, like, who you guys are as powerful women and, like, what you're passionate about, and like I knew y'all would connect. So
Are you gonna cry?
you know me.
I'm a crybaby too.
Okay, so let's take it back to Ocean Springs. You wanna bring out the question bowl?
Sure.
That has never got a better name.
The question bowl. Okay. Can that be the theme song?
Yes, absolutely. You're gonna have to sing it.
I won't remember.
You're gonna have to record it, and then Jesse can just put it into the
Hey, look
podcast. All right, you want me to grab one? Okay.
Can you breathe?
She's looking at you trying to figure it out.
This doesn't make sense for you.
Okay. Next.
Okay. Okay, Cruising the Coast or Peter Anderson Festival? Which one do you prefer?
Peter Anderson Festival.
I knew you were going to say that. Do you sell at the Peter Anderson?
I have.
Okay.
I've participated in that festival 3 times.
It is not easy to participate in a festival. It is a lot of
It's work. It's work.
Okay, so when you did participate, how long did it take you to prepare for it?
A week.
Oh, well, that's you must have had the work already.
How do you prepare for it? Like, what does that look like? How do you choose what you're going to bring down to the festival?
Well, for me, I just do accessories. And I knew that's what I was going to bring. I also do artwork. So I didn't bring my art, just the accessories.
And jewelry. Yeah.
My handbags, my jewelry, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I do a checklist 2 days before to make sure I have everything what I want to bring. I go through thinking of the type of audience that's going to be there, what to bring. And then the night before, I'm packing my car.
And the setups, they've gotten so outrageous. Like,
really?
There was this one setup I'll never forget. It looked like fish bones. And it was a fish, and like in the head, that's where the cash register was. And then the bones of the fish were like where they hung all their things.
Oh, wow.
And so it was really cool. I know.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But I don't know if your booth looked like anything
No,
different than a tent,
I always, even when I vend in Atlanta at art festivals, I wanted to create that gallery look.
Yeah.
So I'd have pedestals.
Are you part of the gallery in Biloxi too? The 780?
I was at one time.
Okay.
That's a
What
couple
was
of years
that
ago.
called again?
782.
I can never remember all the numbers. Okay, sorry, back to your pedestals.
Yes, but I would always set up like a gallery because I want people to come in and get that experience, to see a handbag, not just a handbag, but as a piece of art, to see a neck piece on a display as a piece of art and have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
So
I like it. Do you play music while you're in your tent? Like, what kind of music does Sabrina
no,
listen to?
I love to, but they don't want you to.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of them don't want you to play the music.
Because live bands are playing around.
Yeah, and I guess but when I'm in my studio, I listen to jazz, Afro beats. I love reggae.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Also soft rock.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the Beatles?
No, more or less Janis
Okay,
Joplin,
I like
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix,
Prince.
Peter
Wait, is he soft?
I
Frampton.
don't think he's
Yeah,
soft rock. I
yeah,
don't think
yeah.
so.
Nothing soft about Prince, right?
Prince was actually my first concert that I ever went to.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I
I
forgot
saw-
about
yeah.
that. That's very cool.
Yeah. So
All right.
All right, your turn. Pick one. I will hold it.
The question ball. Okay. That does make sense for her.
second time be best.
If there was something you could change tomorrow, and well, not only in the city of Ocean Springs, but maybe perhaps Biloxi or the coast, what would it be?
The mindset of some of the people.
In
We've
what
been
way?
talking about
That
that
mindset.
season 2.
I'm type of person. Believe in being transparent. Just meeting people, smiling, and I'm always embracing, giving a hug.
Yeah,
You know, trying to change that mindset to be more open,
right.
to be accepting of other people, all people, no matter what color, no matter what gender, they're human. It's changing the
In
mindset.
class.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that answer. I might cry.
I might cry.
Because seriously, Raven and I have been talking about this. This has been the theme of season 2. It's just, she asked me what I wanted for Ocean Springs. I asked her. I said kindness. She said grace.
Yeah.
It's just, it really is on our minds. And it's probably because we're all diving in and working with the community more and more and seeing how everyone's reacting to certain things. And it's just kind of like, hey guys, remember, we're all in this together, one coast. Like, we're all wanting this, art reputation for the coast, and we want to stay creative. I went on a walk the other day, and I was just looking at the different people's yards and how they bring their creativeness into it. Just their personal little space. The mailboxes are painted, the collections of different statues, like the metal pink flamingos, and there's some houses they completely all season long have all these things out to just sort of like create a story. And that's Ocean Springs. That's the coast. Like, we all have this energy we need to put out in our own way. And like, some people may say, oh man, you know that house? And, some people will be like, yeah, isn't it so cool? And some people will be like, oh, that's so tacky. Why are they
so
doing
much.
it? But like, the good thing is that, it's kind of part of the story, I don't really know where I was going with that. It's just, I have these moments where I realize, like, even if you're not a creative entrepreneur, even if you don't work for the city, like, we are all still kind of working towards the same things and want the same things, just to express ourselves and to be heard.
I think individuals who are creative, have that creative mindset, are more open to living in color, and they want to express it out there to the world.
Right.
And especially at times like we're living in now, with so much going on around the world, we need to be more of a bright light to others and be expressive with color.
Right.
I think that that's what's going to be your main success.
Oh.
Your attitude. Your work is so good. Even if there's hiccups, you're willing to communicate about it and come in and do what you got to do to get the job done. But it's always about the attitude that comes with it. And I've never called you and you not answer.
Oh, thank you.
I call you and you don't answer.
You never try. I know, and seriously, this is the worst thing. Like, I don't know if this is some like play God has on me right now, but every time the mayor calls me, every single time, I somehow miss it. Like, I know he thinks I'm doing it on purpose, but literally, it's like I'm literally like
doesn't.
5 seconds away from my phone, and then I come back and I'm like, how did I do this again? 3 years of this.
Oh, wow. Well, you're a busy woman.
I know. I mean, I always have my phone on me, but I don't know how it happens. I really don't. But I call you back.
You do call me
And
back.
your phone, when I call you, it just doesn't even ring.
It's because it's on Do Not Disturb.
I know. So I'll text you, Did you get my message before?
Because sometimes No.
I can't wait for you to read
I
it.
have a difficult time of like being on my phone just because of my job. And so like when I really want to be present, like I have to put it, it can't be dinging because I'm gonna be looking and I
Yeah.
want to be knowing and talking.
Yeah,
And
can't help
so, I'm really trying to be more present and
I'll
whatever I'm
remind you
doing.
of that next time we have lunch. And she's on her 2 phones. And I'm
Okay.
like, hello, I'm here in front of you.
But back to, about mindset. And, we talk a lot about people's intentions. Like, I think that everyone's passionate about something, even if, we're passionate about opposite things. We're both passionate, but it's, Sarah's intentions are never ill. It's not negative. And so I shouldn't take it that way. I should just listen. And it goes back to mindset and just being a light. And I think people are afraid to show that light sometimes because they think they're going to be judged about it. And so they kind of close in.
Are you talking about our situation this week?
No, that's amazing.
We get in little spats every once in a while.
Oh, I really wasn't talking about it.
I was like, okay, we doing this over here.
I'd forgotten that. I put that out of my mouth. The intentions were, it was gone. So so we get into spats, just so everyone knows.
Because we're sisters.
But we
From
release
different
it.
misters.
And mothers.
From everything.
Would you like to pick something from the bowl?
Sure.
And ask us? Or
Okay.
ask yourself?
Okay, let me see. Oh, Lord.
She's gonna
If
say,
it
I
doesn't
don't
make
get to
sense,
say
just throw it over the shoulder.
Oh, that not.
Just throw it over your shoulder.
Let's see. Let me see. Okay. All right. What's one thing that people think about you that is totally untrue? I use that for me.
Okay.
Okay, I like that because I didn't want to answer it.
I've had some people say to look at me, I look like I'm mean. And I guess because I have a serious side about myself as well. I'm a fun-loving person, but I do have a serious side about myself. So that's untrue. I'm not mean at all. I don't have
And
a
there's
mean
nothing
spirit.
wrong with being serious.
Yeah.
That isn't mean. And being forward is not mean either. No, you are so kind and loving.
Thank you. I wanted to bring that out and hoping that having a good heart and being a good person, if someone's going through something, I can change the way they feel or think.
Yeah.
I always say when I hear things about myself that come from someone who doesn't know me, I'm like, well, all I can do is know that the people who know me won't believe it, and I just have to move on from there.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, I've gotten that people think I'm stuck up or like I am really a shy person. Like when I was a kid, like you look at me too long and I'm bursting into tears, like hiding behind the door. So I had to work a lot to push myself. And at times I can still get a little just close myself in.
Your feelings.
But, my family put me in theater, and that just opened my world up. So like I can fake it. I can be shy and I'll fake it. You'll never know. But people tend to think that I'm stuck up because I won't say anything first because does Sarah know who I am? Like, should I talk? Is she going to be mean to me when I talk to her? Like that is kind of the thoughts that will go through my head. And then sometimes I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to say, hey, because if they're not going to say, hey, whatever,
Yeah.
So
I think maybe being in the art industry, this is the only thing I can really think about. Because most of the things people think of me are true. Like I'm super sensitive and I talk too much. And I got way too much energy most of the time. I get it. But being in the art industry, you're not taken as seriously in the professional world. And, I've had a successful business for 10 years and it somehow guided me into this job too. So I see that as a success, even though I'm not 100 full time in my studio anymore. But yeah, and then I just turned around and made it my goal to make sure that creative careers are taken seriously, alternative lifestyles and careers are talked about,
Yeah.
and we're kind of getting to the root of why certain creative entrepreneurs aren't succeeding and helping them to succeed, by starting groups like Local Creatives who, this person knows how to do their taxes. This person knows how to run QuickBooks. This person knows how to manage a studio and keep things coming out in a timely manner, products made in a timely manner. And we just learn from each other.
Yeah.
So if you can identify your weakness and pursue learning how to, surround yourself with people who can help you fix that. That's just the goal.
That's true.
But yeah, I've always hated that. So I just tried to turn it around in any way possible and just sort of face it basically.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
what? Are you gonna cry?
I'm not gonna cry.
Okay, I'm picking one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. Girls, bike rides or golf cart rides?
Bike rides for me.
Bike ride.
Bike rides.
And it's funny I say that because I haven't ridden a bike in years.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
I know, but I would prefer to be on a bike. I was telling Sarah, this year I really want to be outdoors more. So we went hiking together. On our first hike, we hiked 9 miles.
Where'd y'all hike?
We were like, do your toes hurt?
On the way back, we were like, ow. Ow.
And the whole goal of this hike was to do this TikTok dance. We have yet to do a TikTok dance, but we were in so much pain.
We were in so much pain.
I was like, number one, I don't even know how to dance like a real dance. I can wiggle, but
$9 miles.
choreography.
So we did 4.5 in,
Okay.
and then you have to come back.
Gotcha.
But it was so much fun.
It was fun. It was needed, and then we went and ate.
Okay.
And this was right before Ramadan started, so
Right.
we feasted. It was amazing.
It was good.
It was amazing.
It was good. But yeah, so I want to be outdoors more. I want to have my son outdoors more. And you talking about when you were growing up, not being able to go to the beach.
Yes.
And I think that just kind of sometimes translates into generations. Like my grandmother does not want to be outside.
Yeah.
You can't if there's a nice cool air and I'm like, let's open the windows and get some. She's like, I pay for electricity and air conditioning. Because she grew up that way, and that's not something she wants to revert back to. So therefore, my mother doesn't go outside.
Oh.
And so I don't want to be stuck in that kind of loop of not enjoying the outdoors. There's so many amenities here on the coast, and my mother doesn't know how to swim. My grandmother doesn't know how to swim. Fortunately for me, I do. I was on the swim team, and so
what were you not a part of?
I was really part of it. And so those are things that I want to instill in my son, being outdoors. So we're going kayaking for the first time this month.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm just super excited to just try everything that's here where we're growing up from.
Well, ladies, I just want to say that I'm very proud of you guys for having the kind hearts that you have and putting yourself out there on this podcast to share what inspires you, what you're doing here in Ocean Springs and how you can kind of spread that and not letting the past define who you are now. And I mean that with all sincerity. I love both of y'all, and I'm so glad y'all have met today.
Oh,
I
yes.
feel y'all are gonna really connect. So I can't believe it, but we're out of time.
Oh, wow, that was nice. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you for the invite. And I look forward to doing work with you guys here.
Yes, absolutely.
I did a sandal making class at the Oral Keith Museum of Art.
Sandal making.
Yeah. Hey, it's time for sandals.
It is.
Yes.
I'm very
You should
excited.
do one over at the Mary C.
I want to. I would love to.
Let's do it.
Definitely.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank
This is
you.
the City Culture Podcast, episode 3. Tune in, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
I didn't know when she was going to stop talking.
Sorry. I was just
She's on the move.